this whole tragedy can be, okay, this can be on a lot of subjects, actually, but it's really a tragedy just because it's kind of brushed under it, like it's not out there obvious, but no, it affects you and anyone else you know. It'll affect everyone. If, because I was trying to get help on it for over 2 years. But I really want to make a point across about, because there's many times when I finally was catching up. I was finally catching on to what was going on, and okay, well, not to mention, it's one thing already to be bullied online, bullied behind your back, bullied, like, defamed your character and all that. It's one thing, but this is like beyond another level, because this was intentionally targeted, and the system, I can loosely say the system failed. This is not even about me necessarily, or just because it's my dad, and yeah, this whole thing was all crazy, but it was just, I can't believe how many people just, if they were not, if they were either in on it, or they said nothing. They just said nothing, and they know what was, they know firsthand what happened, and in front of other people they're saying he was a great person and all that, because he was a great person. My dad was a great person, and I see all the lies and everything, especially unfortunately after he passed away. Why did it have to come to that? Because this was actually very preventable, and it's not even about me and my situation or whatever. It's, how far a lot of this went, but, and it was so systematic, it was so planned out, and there was even the separation when she put my dad, when he was the most ill he's ever been in his life, and I even when I tried to help, no officers helped, no one in the system helped, and for some reason they were all under the manipulator's spell. And when I find out at the last minute, I was the last to find out, yeah, they moved him to, she had him move to an apartment, and that was kind of strange. And then I figured out why, but then I see in the messages, on the old messages on this phone, that, oh yeah, she was just taunting him with that, and then I remember hearing at that same time from someone else, why was there so many police at that house? So there's just all this, it wasn't good, it was not good, and no one was helping. When I even tried to talk to the police, for a time I didn't know where he was, and no one was telling me anything, and they refused to help. They just, and I knew that other people were profiting off of fundraising off of the heart attack, and I was even the last to know about that, even the heart attack, and that was, but all these things like ahead of time, telling people I'm crazy or whatever, but the level of discrediting is beyond ridiculous, and it was beyond divisive and triangulated. It really has been dangerous and destructive. My safety has been at risk every time I call for whatever from this side of town. I'm not taken seriously, so it would be nice to know what was said, but no one comes forward, and it was not fair to my brother, who came all the way from Germany. When I was the one that was there seeing my dad pass away, I video called my brother because he's the only one that would answer, and that was the hardest day of my life. And everything was just planned out. It was just, he didn't have to do this. He didn't have to die in such grief, but it was just the hardest moment ever. And it was, but the probation was really making him sick. Everything was, and he was holding on to any hope possible. He was not losing hope. He was holding on to anything, and so much was just, but how come at the very last minute, yeah, that bishop was being, I don't know what happened, and he was pretty cold, ignoring my calls, but he was meeting with my mom behind my dad's back when I didn't even know, but he immediately, when he did answer my call, it was the day my dad died. But when I tried to ask about when he came here, and I'm like, I've never heard of anything so secretive, what happened? And he immediately said, I was not a bishop then, by the way. So it was more like really planned. It was planned, I guess, But so it was not. It was just I was right in town. So all this stuff happened when everyone, and even someone recently told me, like on the phone, as I was saying, but he was kept so isolated. I find worse things on the phone of what went on, and now like, oh no, your mother made sure she had no one, like literally had no one, and I see the coerced. It was just disgusting, cruel, and then using the marriage as a weapon, and it was when he was like literally nearly at death's door, right there, daunting him, and they ignored everything, even at the local church, St. George Church, where my dad has served many times in the past. And it was like, why did my brother have to come all this way? Because whatever reason, I don't know what happened with that bishop, but I was trying to let my brother. I only recently, it occurred to me, he sent my dad a nasty letter. It didn't even make sense, but it was really, it was unbelievable. But why did he have to come all this way from Germany on on something like this? My brother, what did he do to deserve that? And he had to, at the last minute, call a priest that he knew on the East Coast or South Carolina, asking him to serve for the funeral as a favor. Like, there's a priest there. What was said that is so horrible about a person, about a human being? I mean, or is it just a monetary transaction for the? It's confusing because all the years my father served, many years before things got sabotaged, and there was kits to serve for anything. Even someone can be served communion in a prison. There is even kits for things like that, and so what makes a person so horrible that it's not even worth answering my emails or phone calls. Just what was said of like, if I was this is not the orthodoxy I knew. So but then all of a sudden, but when I was trying to speak out or find help, or when no one was, I want to say also the most common thing I kept hearing was, okay, I don't know what to believe, or what can I do, or they just turn their back. But then that's what I don't know. It just did not, if it would concern you too if this would happen to someone you know. But it's also these are the people we're all supposed to trust. All of the departments, they're all. But it should be equally concerning. If they can let this happen, all those money and resources for stuff, and not hearing another side, not hearing, and who else can it happen to? Who else? But to get help, honestly, to try to defend yourself at all, after things have been like purposely cut away, and it was like, even I'm right in town, I had no way of knowing, and nobody would talk to me, and that's a lot of people. If they smiling to my brother's face, or probably, what I was actually here trying to get help for something legit, but, and I was silenced in any way possible, but it was not even about me. And even if someone was crazy or unstable, who deserves to be this ignored? Something was real. And if you wonder what can you do, well, if those who've gone to church regularly, those who knew us from there, and he used to always say how good my dad was, and but for anyone, like any place that you go to, any church, you bring your talents, you bring your agape, what they call your love, you can't be a Christian without love. And then also there's also people of even the local church, there's local Orthodox church, there's people of many different credentials and expertise, but it doesn't even matter though. It doesn't matter. What someone is distraught and someone's scared for the first time, like in their life, at this level, and it's real, at least you don't have to fix anything. You can at least get a damn. give a damn, because because this is very complicated, this whole thing. But why did it have to be so one-sided? Like, someone can just give a random person power, and it's hurtful and destructive on innocent people. A very innocent person that only meant well with anyone, worked hard, and it was literally set up for all this, to die alone. And it was not easy for me to even be there for my dad, because the times when I was not being told where he was, and I knew he was sick, and the times that it was like I was lied to, saying, oh, he doesn't want to talk to you, and this and that, and I didn't realize until finally when I got my name and number was blocked on his phone, and he was just not able to notice that. But it was very slick stuff. And then, so my reaction was, obviously it was traumatic. So, and then what do you do when there's the places I tried to go to for help, it backfired. It kept backfiring. I'm not psychotic. I'm not a harm to anyone. But why is everyone else turning their back when someone else is a harm? And you post all the time, anyone, all of you post all the time about kindness, about spreading kindness and fairness, whatever. You spread a lot about that. But what was this about? What was this behavior about? Why? Okay, people know things, but if it's the church, I remember. How come I'm not getting a response when I needed some pastoring, when I needed some consolation? How come no one, who in the right mind anywhere in any church at all, is that horrific or is that cold, to a human being? So what was really said about me? I'm just curious. Just be honest. Can be straightforward. And I asked someone that would know, and then it keeps redirecting. Your mother did the damage. Your mother did okay, but not everything was on the internet. I was stalked for a couple of years by I don't even know who. And in that place where my dad was helpless by himself after the heart attack, as others were making money off that, there was squatters in the attic, and I was being threatened by my mother and my uncle. This was scary, and everybody just turns their back. So one person can just say something, and that's it. But I've never in my life been that kind of person that was suddenly talked about in that way. So, but yeah, but I also want to make this about what is it? What do people come to? What does the church come to? What is because why? Just why? If you will not have the same reaction. You will not be you would not like it if people turned their backs and just said, what can I do? When something so covertly horrific is happening. My dad's not coming back, and he didn't do anything to anyone. Even if it was slanderous stuff that was causing stuff, why not hear someone else's side? I would not come out of the woodwork out of nowhere and just be traumatized over nothing. I'm in my 40s, I've never been a harm to anyone, or I've never been, I haven't, only sabotage, only, it's it was, things were maliciously intending to sabotage me. That was the only instability I really, really felt. But that was to cover other things, and just all the boxes I found of the photocopied vital documents or whatever. But what's going on? Just, even being supportive. Why do people have to be so cold all of a sudden, or just move forward? But how can I move forward if it's affected my safety when I didn't even know what was said about me, and it's affected my dad's life and my safety and other people's safety if they think about it? Because if they can do this to anyone, ruin good people intentionally, and they did say it. Because when they were refusing to help me find him, they said, because even one of them he said everything I witnessed all these years in a nutshell. He said, so he was trying to explain my concerns, and he said, So basically, wear him out and ruin his life. But then they just didn't want to help. And then another time they found out where I was staying, or I found a place to go, and then it was just crazy. It was just, and then they told me that my mother set me up to go meet up with my dad at the restaurant. But why not just come on over when I was in that same kind of town, same side of town? But no, they were planning stuff behind them. It was just, and then turning around acting like I was crazy. Okay, no, you don't set up a traumatic situation, a traumatic incident to make someone intentionally look crazy. While I didn't know where my dad was, and no, it was, and then what I found out after he passed, people could have helped. People could have helped, but why are people that way? When they were here, they were in on it, or they know, or when I was trying to come forward or reach out to someone, suddenly I'm not a person. I don't even know what was said completely. I only saw some things, but no, but even hypothetically, why would you even treat a schizophrenic person that way? And I noticed that was said about me, but among other things probably, but why would you even treat someone like that if they're scared for someone? That was when no one else is helping. That was the problem. No one else was helping. No, they were just. I show why on my page, but excuse me. But what is going on with society? What if you know something, or if you know how to help me in this? Please reach out to me. Feel free, because because in any attempts to try to get help or speak out or anything was, so many things got hacked and everything, but this wasn't my fault. This was never my fault, and this wasn't my fault. But it's this is not the orthodoxy I knew. I mean, if you want to know something about me, get to know me as a person, but there's never a good reason to treat somebody like this. If this is in your character, this is a lot about the person doing it. Doesn't matter who it is. Because I don't have a problem with getting along with anyone, but this was very tragic. This was a tragedy. So I really wanted to make that point out there, because this is not just about me. This is not about me. This was targeted. This was systematic, and this was like all those money and resources that the system pays for to do all these setups and to intentionally hurt a good person. Like, why would you just shrug that off if something like that was targeting someone you know? And this was very real, and I unfortunately found out the hard way. So my dad's not coming back, and the only other parent I have is heartless like this. I mean, I don't hate anyone, but why? I don't know, but we could have saved a life. And if there's maybe can be more discussions on why this is happening, why this happens at all. Because if it happened like this, that's not a first time. That's not a first time. And there's even voicemails, like some recordings that my mother was taunting and stuff like that. But like there was people from I don't know what agencies, or some kind of law enforcement stuff that was even explaining how to set things up to make things really like intentional on other people. I don't know. But why did I have to even go through this alone? Why do I have to go through this alone? And I'm not even it's just the truth. I mean, my dad's not coming back, and I was never lying about it. But it's not even about myself. It's, I already said it all, but I hope, it might take a while for things to catch on, for people to hear me, but I'm just journaling things as it comes, and why am I going through this alone? I don't know who can be so discredited so badly, like to this level, and when someone is like the most sick in their life, and it was just like everyone's giving all that power to, it was just is literally suffering and they're just targeting it, and they're just playing with all that. It was just it's disgusting. I just don't see how a person can be like that. Even if I was crazy or not, it doesn't matter. I don't see any sense in this. But why are people the way they are? Or is this the truth? But on the other hand, does it make it right? Just because this happens or that happens, nothing you can do about it. Move forward, but don't move forward is another word for shut up, because life already moves forward. But if you don't want to listen, you don't have to. But just because things happen, just because either the time, does that make it right? Does that make it right? Why no one said anything? Why no one just has any interest? Because maybe I should see. Maybe I should keep making myself clear, because any attempt to get any help was sabotaged and silenced. But what about all this? You guys post about human rights or civil rights and this and that, but you also have support systems, and you saw this support system is all sabotaged to the core, and that is just this is all I have, is speaking out in any way I could. So who else does this happen to? So if it happens this systematic, this targeted, this this calculated, and this everything to a T has been planned, and that was a lot of resources spent on an innocent person in a time when we already have a hard time finding good counselors, therapists, and all that. So, and they were trying to maliciously put me in a mental hospital and I could have lost my rights and more, and that is really sad. But just because it's this happens doesn't mean you can say it doesn't make it right to say nothing, because that's why it happens. People say nothing, and it doesn't even matter who you are, where you're from, what the story is. But if it's not right, it's not right. Even with the church that I was familiar with for a lot of years, they wouldn't even answer my call. What did I do to them? What did my dad do to them? What did my brother do to deserve that? Coming all the way over here and then having to not even understand what happened. And he wouldn't fully understand because he was not here. He's on the other side of the world. He has a family and works. So this is not right. What kind of a person is that disgusting to, and for a church to do that, and human beings, and to do this to a priest that has served you and has loved you and has prayed, and it would have done anything to help anyone, and then just, this is really, but this is like, it's not even a religious thing, this is not a spiritual thing, this is targeted, this is a very real thing. It can be on a lot of subjects, but I really hope we can't make anyone do anything, but hopefully people understand what keeping a blind eye to the wrong people, to good people, what it did, and what the system failed a lot, and how come this level of people not caring go this far. So he was innocent the whole time. He was innocent the whole time, but the worst thing, how can that many people just not care about a human being? I was trying to, and then suddenly I'm just the most disgusting person that's like, no, I was trying to really say something, and all of a sudden now in my life I'm kind of like, whatever has been said, out of all those years of my life, okay, because I don't care what happens to it, to who did what, but people, why are you so, like, why would you do this? Why would you let this happen so far, and yeah, I'm just running out of things to say now because I think I've said it all, but this is not even about me, like I said. Imagine all this, think about it, and why would you, well, because anyway, I'm just really meaning what I'm saying, because all this moving forward, how do I move forward when life already moves on, but how can I just act like nothing happened and it's affected everything? This is like not even, this is inhumane, this is like and hopefully people at least see that I was not lying. And I had to figure this out the hard way, that in my instincts were not wrong. I wasn't wrong, and people just ignored me and kept on with they're either in on it because they're equally malicious, or I don't know. Hopefully people just realize people don't act out of character for nothing. So yeah, but if you really think I'm crazy, even why would a crazy person deserve this? I'm completely by myself now, and I don't have any family here. All I have is my words, and so I don't. Everyone else has been so secretive or silent about it and helping that happen. But what did I do? No one's telling me anything. But so but it's kind of like I remember from a young age making prayer ropes, from the Komboskini, the prayer ropes. These would often keep me grounded, but now so much is really uncomfortable because it's just what has happened. It's kind of like it's been so much has gotten distorted from this, but the understanding of what I'm going through, what this did to me. But this is like stuff I have not been able to go to counseling for, because when something is so complicated, I really just needed some kind people to be a little good listener, and then help me see what I can do about this. Because things that I didn't even understand yet, and I was being like targeted, and I was being stalked, and I didn't even know why, and I was being set up to be humiliated in different ways, and then being called a scammer when I don't even have that. But it was just a lot of things that just intentionally were humiliating, and someone went to a judge when I was not even at this place. I was after being locked out when all my stuff was gone, and they were laughing at me, and then 2 months after that they went to a judge that I didn't even know about and won eviction. So it's just they were just all laughing at it, and then someone I didn't even know tagged me on Facebook. So it was just all that stuff when I didn't even know where my dad was yet. All that stuff to make me look crazy. But it was why so many people in on this? Who's getting what out of it? And I'm concerned. I'm curious. Who? If it's this easy for one person to get away with this, I would think this can be concerning for other people. Who else can it happen to? And I have concerns for myself, my stuff, but I don't know. This is kind of over my head. So sometimes a little bit of support would help. A little bit of like encouragement or like good listener, because this has been so much for one person, for myself, and even this is because of all the manipulating and all the setups and ambushes and stuff I was going through. Like nearly 40 years old. I'm kind of crippled and stuff because of I physically have a hard time. So, but I would try to talk to a therapist when I was already in counseling anyway. But the pandemic, it was kind of like, it was kind of like, during the pandemic, it was kind of like, it kind of slowed down, but then also the therapist didn't really understand. He was young, but it was like, well, that's a lot of power for just one person. Okay, then that just makes me feel like I'm being treated like I'm crazy again. But when all people can do is just be kind and be honest with me. So I don't make a fool out of myself. Why am I being ignored at this church? So why did my dad have to be treated like that at the end? And he served you guys. He served them, and they have a priest. Why did my brother come all the way from Germany on this? Our dad passed away. And why did he have to ask suddenly for a priest on the other side of the country at the last minute, zero notice, to do this, something like this, serve for his dad's funeral as a favor? What is... It's just, it's whether or not I survive, whatever, but who else is this going to happen to? Who else can this happen to? Well, who is that horrible a person? Who can be that discarded, that did nothing to you, that really did nothing to you, and was only betrayed by betrayal. It was like the worst. It's like, but then why do people just turn their backs? And why even bother letting that funeral happen if you were gonna be this disgusting about it? So I'm curious. I would like just say something. Come forward, please. Okay. I really mean what I say, and I'm cannot stress it enough. So hopefully, you can reach out to me on my page about this, but just be honest. Be honest, because it was not my fault. It was not my dad's fault. It was not. It's not a victim's fault. We've been victims. That's what it. I don't want to think of myself that now, but it was not our fault. What we went through, what I went through, what my family is put through, is not. It's not right. It is not right. Okay, that's. I mean, a little bit of suggestion. What point in the next direction when it's like really, because I'm by myself and I've never had to go through this before. So, I mean. But yeah, but I figure it out anyway. But I just need to say all that because this isn't good. Who knows who else it can happen to? So anyway, thank you. That's all I have to say for now.